amazing, awesome, extraordinary, excellent, out of this world. It's getting very hard to describe Jalen Brunson, his accolades, and what he means to this Knicks team. And not only me, even head coach of the Kings, Mike Brown, found it difficult to describe Jalen Brunson and what he means to this Knicks team. So much so that he stopped using phrases and words and started to use players. And he compared Jalen Brunson to a superstar, one of the best players to play the game today. We're going to break down his comments, who he compared Jalen Brunson to, and why this matters going forward for the New York Knicks. All of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Mike Brown, head coach of the Kings, compares Jalen Brunson to another superstar in this league. Now, Jalen Brunson, if you ask 100 people, maybe 90% of them would probably tell you he is not a superstar. Not yet anyways. However, in my opinion, he's been knocking on that door of superstardom for a long time now, for a large part of this season. And that's due to his play, his impact, and what he means to this Knicks team. And now other people around the league are starting to notice his greatness, especially Mike Brown, because when you stop using words to describe Jalen Brunson and you start using players, you enter a new realm, a new territory you've never been into before. And that's exactly what Jalen Brunson is doing for this Knicks team. Let's take a look at Mike Brown and what he said about Brunson. Man, he's a hell of a player. I don't know if Steph, maybe we blitzed anybody as much as we did Jalen tonight, and he still scored 42 points. Jalen shot 50% from the three-point line and over 50% from the field, and we sent the double team at him every single time he came off of the pick and roll in that second half, and probably half of the time in the first half. Hell of a player. Hell of a player. Hell of a player. I'm sorry, what? Did Mike Brown just compare Jalen Brunson to Steph Curry? Superstar Steph Curry, one of the greatest shooters on the planet, Steph Curry? Let's read that again real quick. Man, he's a hell of a player. I don't know if Steph, maybe we blitzed anybody as much as we did Jalen tonight. He's speaking about how the Kings defended Jalen Brunson. And honestly, that was a very surprising comment for me. I knew Jalen was doing better with the double teams. He was either finding them better, seeing when they were coming at him and passing out of them, or splitting the double team and getting to the rim. He was doing one or the other, but he was getting better at reading the doubles. However, if they're trying to guard him like Steph now, if they're playing him like Steph now, at least according to Mike Brown, and they're trying to guard him that way, trying to trap him, trying to put him in positions that make the game harder for him, then I gotta say, we have to stop talking about Jalen Brunson with all of these lower level stars, because now we have coaches, we have players, we have other people around the league starting to compare Jalen Brunson to your favorite players, to those stars, those all-stars, those superstar players. Once that happens, we have to start considering Jalen Brunson as one of those players. You cannot guard Jalen Brunson, blitz Jalen Brunson, trap Jalen Brunson like you would do all of these other stars like Steph Curry, and then not speak about Jalen Brunson when you're having those conversations about who are the better players in the NBA, who are the top 10 players in the NBA, who are the top 15 players in the NBA. Newsflash, by the way, in my opinion, Jalen Brunson is starting to crack himself into the top 10 players in the NBA. Right now, he's on the outskirts of that, maybe 11, maybe 12. You can make arguments all day with me, but in my opinion, that's where he is because of his play. He doesn't get there without this Knicks team. I give you that. But this Knicks team isn't where they are today without Jalen Brunson, that legendary footwork, and what he means for this team. We have head coaches talking about they have to guard Jalen like they would do other stars in the league. And I'm still talking with people either on social media, in the comments, still arguing my point on why Jalen Brunson should be considered a superstar, why he's knocking on that door of superstardom, and why, in my opinion, he deserves an all-NBA team nod this season. Second team for me, but if you don't want to do that, at least give him that third team nod, because without a doubt, he's deserved at least that much. But second team, he's on his way. In my opinion, he's already locked it down. But some other people, some other voters still need to be swayed. Don't worry. Watch the Knicks for the next few games for the rest of the season. Jalen Brunson and this team is going to do that. They're going to convince you. Jalen has just been phenomenal. Footwork, defense, paint play, three-point shooting, whatever you need from Jalen, he's going to give you. You need clutch buckets, he's going to give you that. You want and ones, he's going to give you that. You want him to get to the line more? Well, he's going to try, but the refs are going to have to be the one to give him those calls. Sometimes he doesn't get them, but oftentimes recently, he's been hearing that whistle a lot more. You start hearing that whistle a lot more when you start turning into a star. Jalen, in my opinion, is turning into that star right before our eyes, and there's no denying it at this point in time. Shout out to Knicks PR on the app X for giving us the following information about Brunson. Jalen Brunson recorded 40-plus points in consecutive games, including the game against the Kings last night, marking the first time a Knick has recorded 40-plus points in back-to-back games since Carmelo Anthony did it in 2014. Brunson is also the fourth Knick in franchise history to record 40-plus points in consecutive games. I'm running out of words to describe this man, describe his accolades, and describe his impact for this Knicks team. 40-plus points consecutively, going up there with names like Carmelo Anthony and Bernard King, doing something that we haven't seen in Knicks history for nearly 10 years, maybe more than that. Jalen Brunson is on pace to be one of the best Knicks point guards we've ever seen in Knicks history. Knicks history. And he's only been here 2 years, not even the full second year yet. He's doing things that make me drop my jaw in excitement and shock, because I can't believe sometimes what I'm watching. From the legendary footwork, taking contact inside the paint at his size, using his size and his strength as 6 foot, taking charges, making sure he takes contact, getting to the line, using his body, protecting the ball. I could go on and on and on for why Jalen Brunson is a top-tier guard in the league. You have coaches, you have players, you have NBA legends talking about Jalen Brunson, what he means to this team, and his play. His play is that of a superstar. His play is leading this Knicks team to victory each and every night. And because of this play, we have to start talking about him like the player that he is. He is a star knocking on the door of superstardom. You can't use words to describe his greatness anymore because he's just too great. You now have to compare him to other legendary players when you want to talk about his greatness. Steph Curry being one of them. They didn't have to compare the way they guard Jalen Brunson to Steph Curry, but they did. And shout out to Mike Brown for doing that, because now, moving forward, all the conversations, when you're speaking about Jalen Brunson, remember these comments from Mike Brown. You shouldn't talk about him with the lower level stars. You should be talking about him with your favorite stars around the league, because Jalen Brunson and his star play is making this Knicks team one of the best teams in the league. It's making Brunson one of the most feared guards in the league. It's making Brunson get comparisons to Steph Curry regarding how to defend him. Once that happens, the narrative, the conversation, all needs to change. And Brunson is making that conversation change with his own play. And I'm so happy to see it. I'm so happy to see these comments. And I'm so happy Mike Brown said this about Brunson, because now, moving forward, when we talk about Brunson, we should be talking about him with those main stars in the league. You know, the top 10 players in the NBA, we should be talking about Brunson with those guys, because as of right now, Brunson is playing like one of the best guards in the entire NBA. And we need to acknowledge that. But what about you guys? What do you think about these comments given to Jalen Brunson by Mike Brown, stating basically that the way that they were guarding Jalen was the same way they guard Steph Curry? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.